Yes, sir. I don't know about y'all, but man, I just watched the Rams get their butt kicked by the Buffalo Bills. We'll touch a little bit on that and maybe what to expect from the Rams this year. Also, y'all know why we're here. The big thing, 49ers. It's Friday morning, so we got 49ers, Bears. That's coming right up. Y'all gonna get my final takes on that. And I got Ron Veal and Greg Panelli joining me to talk quarterback development, talk a lot of Justin Fields, sprinkling some Trey Lance, sprinkling a little bit of Trevor Lawrence, all that good stuff and more right here. Keep it locked on the San Francisco 49ers morning show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Crocker over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And as you can see, man, I'm jacked. I'm ready to go and watch some 49er football and see what happens. But before we get into all that, one, I'm not live. This is a premiere, so I'm kind of live. And hopefully I'm able to join y'all from the chat, right? Because I think I'll be on the plane by the time this is airing. Will I be on the plane? I got to look at my flight. All right, I'm going to Chicago, man. I'm going to the Windy City to check out the San Francisco 49ers. But hopefully I'm in the chat right now below, typing away, interacting with all my good folks. Make sure the flames are coming in. 5 flames if you're feeling great. Anything less, we need to talk about it. Make sure your mentals is all good and on point. All that good stuff, all right? But jam-packed show here for y'all today. Won't go too long, nothing too crazy, but exciting times. Oh, shoot. I mean, it's midnight right now. What time is it? 12:42 a.m.? Or is it good to take a shot? All right, we ain't going to do all that. We ain't going to do it. You know, we ain't going to do that. I got to get ready for this flight. I probably won't even get the chance to sleep. All right, anyways, dude, what the hell? Rams got their butt kicked, and they kind of made me look like an asshole a little bit because I tweeted out, like, man, the Rams, underdogs at home. People were like, yeah, they're not good. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really respond because I just wanted to be like, okay, watch the Rams win. And then we come back to the comments and the comments be like, well, what happened? Y'all said they suck. They did suck. They did suck. And it was fun. It was a fun game to watch. Really just from a football standpoint. I'm like, okay, football's back. And we see a bunch of interceptions. I think between the two quarterbacks, 5 interceptions were thrown. I got the box score pulled up here, but Josh Allen threw 2 picks. Matthew Stafford threw 3. Those picks don't hurt as much when you throw 3 touchdowns, which Josh Allen did, almost 300 yards. Matthew Stafford, 240 yards, 5.9 yards per attempt. That's pretty low, especially for 41 attempts. 41 attempts, 240 yards. Not ideal. But it was fun watching that. And one of my major takeaways was watching Josh Allen and just thinking, man, I wish I had a quarterback like that. Wish I had one of those. Now, the cool thing is you get a chance to see if your quarterback develops into that. And there's this quote floating around right now is Jalen Ramsey with his take on Trevor. Why do I keep wanting to say Trevor Lawrence? His take on Josh Allen, early Josh Allen. I retweeted it, so let me pull it up here. Here we go. Jags cornerback Jalen Ramsey calls out Bills rookie quarterback Josh Allen. Rookie quarterback, young Josh Allen. He said, I think Josh Allen is trash. That's a stupid draft pick to me. So very straightforward, very blunt. Thought he was ass. And I think there's going to be a lot of that with people talking about Trey Lance. And now you look at what Allen has developed into. And I'm not saying, listen, y'all probably in the chat right now, Croc, he's not going to be Josh Allen. He's Trey Lance. He won't ever be that. And then you got the haters in there. He'll never be him. He can't be better than Jimmy. They signed Jimmy back. And then you got some people like, he's the greatest quarterback. Calm down. You never know. I'm pretty sure nobody thought Josh Allen would turn into Josh Allen. And we don't know what Trey Lance is going to be. But there are the people that are, I don't want to say preying on his downfall, but they just don't think he's good. So we're going to see. And we'll have a good chance to see what that looks like come Sunday, and I'm excited about that. But one of my main takeaways from Josh Allen, because I watched him early on, so rushed mentally, just grip, just trying to fire everything in there, trying to win everything with his arm. And tonight, watching him, albeit was it year 5 for Josh Allen now? Year 4, year 5? Very under control. Just masterful with everything that he did. Every movement counted. When it was time to run, he didn't waste any time. Like, bro, look downfield, because we like that, right? Remember when Trey Lance took off against the Green Bay and he ended up sliding in the preseason game? But it was like, you stepped up in the pocket, reset, then go. Josh Allen, like, no, F all that reset and stuff. I'm out of here, right? How many times did Josh Allen run the ball? That's one thing that I did. 10 carry, 56 yards. I mean, he was just, I'm taking off. Tuck, go. Quick decision, right? And he did the same thing with his passing. And it was really cool to see. Now, team on the other side, not great. And I'll tell you the worst part about the Los Angeles Rams. They could not run the ball. Well, there are a couple of things that are really bad about the Rams. 18 carries, 52 yards. That's 2.9 yards per attempt. And that's with Henderson having an 18-yard run. Whew, not good numbers there. Everything had to go through Cooper Kupp. And Matthew Stafford got sacked 7 times. 7 times. Talking about dropping your eyes, right? Like, he's the veteran. He's not supposed to do that. Ball coming out of his hand looked a little wobbly. Interesting. That's all I'm saying. It was fun to see the Rams get their ass kicked, though. And they are currently last place in the NFC West. All right. But enough of that. Got a lot of stuff to get into. We're going to talk about the 49ers against the Chicago Bears and what to expect. But first, I want to get to this interview with Ron Veal, quarterback legacy, and Greg Panelli, where we talk all things quarterback, mechanics, development, all that and more right here. And before we get to that video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and enjoy. All right, joining us now, I got my guy Greg Panelli, and y'all know Greg Panelli. He comes on at least once a week to talk about how much he hates Trey Lance, and I'm just kidding. But we got Greg Panelli joining us, QB guru, and we got another QB guru on this episode right now, my guy Ron Veal, a former Arizona Wildcat. I almost was a little disrespectful when I first was asking him, like, Arizona State, and I know there's probably a big-time rivalry, but no, we're bear down around here, so I got your back. One of my young guys, Jonah Coleman, playing running back, true freshman at Arizona, so I got a lot of love for Arizona now. But you train a lot of QBs. You're a part of QB Collective as well, and you do firefighting as well. But talk to me a little bit about QB Collective, because 49er, I got a large 49er fan base. You got Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has been kind of somewhat intertwined with QB Collective, but for people that don't really know exactly what it is, talk about kind of what it is and what your role is with QB Collective.
Well, QB Collective, I've been with them for 4 years. I kind of branched out this year with the QB Legacy with another group here in Atlanta, but the QB Collective was a group of trainers from around the country that work with some of the top quarterbacks that you see playing now on Saturdays. Like, it was 4 or 5 games where quarterbacks from the QB Collective was playing in around the country. You had a camp that was affiliated with the NFL with Richmond, and Richmond had Shanahan, had the guy, the five head coaches now in the NFL work with the QB Legacy. So Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings, Shanahan, and McVay. So all of those guys are incorporated into that organization, and we will get together in the middle of July out in California for a 3-day camp, which consists of fundamentals, film study, and just getting straight knowledge from NFL coaches. It's like one of the best camps situation that was going at the time.
Right, and you talked about you being a part of Legacy now. So kind of let us in on a little bit of what Legacy is and what's going on over there in Atlanta.
All right, the QB Legacy is a group with former quarterbacks, all black quarterbacks. Nothing against the racial thing, but we just try to put a group
nothing
together
against
where
those guys like Greg Panelli.
Nothing like that. It's just a group that we got together where we said, you know what, let's try to target the kids who can't afford the most expensive camps. So we try to get our price point at a medium where people can pay and attend camps and get really good information from a Donovan McNabb or a Jeff Blake or a Ramon Robinson or Medee Williams out of New Jersey or Raymond Filial out of Texas. So all of us
Coach
and
Filial. I was with
yeah,
the San Antonio Talents with Coach Filial. He's a
that's right.
QB guy. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andrico Hines here in Atlanta, and myself. So we got a group of about 7 of us that go around 5 cities, different states, doing these camps. And we were average around 42 quarterbacks, which is our goal and number, between 40 and 50, and go from there.
So you have had a couple, really big name guys that are polarizing right now, especially early in their careers. You got Justin Fields, you got Trevor Lawrence. Greg, I know you have some questions about kind of the draft prep for both of those guys, right?
Yeah, so I know that you did the draft prep, obviously, for Justin, and I know that you came out to Southern California. And what are some of the things that you saw? Obviously, he did really well in college, but what was some of those finer details that you guys wanted to work on from college, then moving into the NFL, some of the changes, obviously, and I've done the draft prep stuff myself, so I kind of know how it goes, but with Justin specifically, what was something that or a couple things you guys wanted to focus on from obviously Ohio State and then going into the NFL?
All right. Yes. So it was a combination of myself and 3D QB with John Beck and those guys out there. So the main purpose was trying to speed up his drops and his anticipation, trying to get his stroke, his take back a little shorter than what it is. So those are the main interests. He came in with a real bad injury from that game against Clemson where he took that big shot. So he had to sit out for like the first 2 weeks till he healed fully. But we was working on drops, sets, and really working on trying to quicken his release to where he can throw a ball, maybe like a 60-40 ball with a little bit more touch versus everything hard or with so much energy on it. So we're just trying to go ahead.
No, go for it.
Yeah, and then the movement part was one of his specialties. So it was more trying to stay in the pocket, let him stay through his progressions. Then when the progressions and that stuff broke down, then he can start working on throwing the ball off platform, which he did pretty well because he played baseball.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was going to say. No,
I was going to ask Ron, how difficult is it, right, for a guy who's been throwing a ball a certain way his whole life and then, in kind of draft prep and then in the offseason say, all right, we're going to try to shorten up this stroke. We're going to try to quicken your drop. How quickly do you see some of those things take effect when the live bullets are flying? Or is that something where you have to continue to revisit that each offseason until it really becomes more muscle memory?
Yeah, the latter part of that statement, I think you continue to work on it all season. The body usually try to conform back to what it's used to. But he's done a really good job. He was home for 2 months here in Atlanta before he went back to Chicago at the end of March. And now you're looking at him in these preseason games where his stroke is really shorter and quicker, and he's getting the ball out quicker with more, decisive reads. And that's the other thing, was did a ton of film work in California, 2 or 3 hours a day going over different stuff, going over verbiage, because a lot of these kids come from systems where it's just signals, and signals is a whole play versus saying a whole play in the NFL where you're in a huddle and you got a play that's long with different formation, different movements, different categories to it. If we get this, we get that. We got to change this at the line of scrimmage. So we went through a lot of that verbiage training as well.
How difficult is that for some of these younger guys, and how much does that kind of correlate to holding on to the ball too long, right? Because Trevor Lawrence, that was kind of one of his knocks in college. They're like, oh, he holds on to the ball too long. And you see him get to the NFL. His first start, he gets sacked 9 times. I'm pretty sure most of that's probably on the offensive line because the Bears' offensive line, no offense, Justin Fields, if you hear this, but the offensive line was kind of trash, and they look to improve on that for sure. But getting the ball out of his hands quicker, and we've seen some of these issues, or I don't even want to say issues, because it seems like some of the things that these young quarterbacks kind of just go through early on in the process, but Trey Lance as well, holding on to the ball just a tick too long. So when you talk about kind of seeing the field a little bit better, and you talked about some of the film work that you did, how much does the film work speed up maybe some of the processing when it translates from the offseason to the actual season?
Well, I think a lot of people take it that these kids come out of college ready for the NFL. The NFL is fast, it's quick. Those guys can play and they understand concepts just as well as quarterbacks understand defenses. Talking to Justin in the offseason, his thing was he was waiting to see the guy open versus throwing the ball on time in anticipation. And I think that's what all three of those guys you mentioned that coming into the college, from college into the NFL. Trey Lance. Trey Lance has a big difference because they use a lot of play action now. So those play actions make defined reads. So Justin them using a lot of play action this year because of the defined read situations in there, and Trevor them are using it too. So we should see a big difference in their game this year because of those play actions, getting the ball out quick, understanding that the play action helps the passing game as long as the running game is pretty stable. I just think that the decision-making timing with them was like, oh, I got to speed this up, but I'm not ready to speed it up because I'm coming from college where my O-line was really, really good, and I had really, really, really good receivers where people running wide open, I can hit them at any point in time.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. You obviously worked with both Trevor and Justin at a younger age, and watching them have as much success as they did in high school, and then going on to college, and then it's basically replicated. And I think obviously training quarterbacks, especially at the higher level, where you got again Trevor and Justin, where these guys lost 2-3 games their whole college career, one game, whatever it may be, but less than a handful of games their whole college career. And then you go back and look at the film. How hard is it? Because I know it's hard for me, but how hard is it to nitpick some of those little things with those guys, because they did a ton of things very well? How hard is it to go back and look at the little things and then take what they did and then really implement it into the training sessions and build on those things going into year 3 at Ohio State or at Clemson, whatever it may be, and then obviously into the NFL, but nitpicking the little things for those guys?
Well, I think that's what you've been around quarterbacks, and the really good ones, the little things are what matters to them. And
Right.
when you see guys train and they're going over a whole bunch of stuff in an hour and a half, what has that kid really learned? But with these
Right.
type of guys, you can sit and go through an hour or hour and 15 minutes on one or two things where they want to perfect that movement or get close to perfection as possible, where it becomes really, really natural to them. Okay, they might do that for 3 sessions in a row just to say, you know what, I got it. I think I got it. I almost got it. Now I think I have it. And when you pick those little things out with them, they can come back and tell you exactly what they did wrong. I didn't feel this on this throw. My feet was this way. My eyes and my feet weren't tied together on this throw. And I was late on this read because I was looking in a different direction and I didn't understand what was going on the other side. So when you talking to them, they'll tell you exactly. I always ask them, I say, what do you want to work on today? And when we in those sessions with Trevor and Justin growing up through high school all the way up to when they, just before college, then in college, we'll always sit down and say, what do we want to work on in this off season? What do you want to work on to get better at? And believe it or not, Justin came home one time, and that was after the first year at Ohio State, and they came and said, man, I just want to work on the speed out to the right, 5 yard out on the move, because they threw that a lot. And they said, I just need to get better with that. I need to throw it on time. This type of thing. Then Trevor came back and said, I just want to work on my base. My base is too wide. I want to narrow my base down a little bit, stand up a little bit more, and try to be more, use the bottom half of my body a little bit more in the pocket. Those type of things that we focus on throughout the off season.
Right.
What goes into that? Because, again, I have a big 49 following. You got Trey Lance here, and I don't know how much of Trey Lance you've watched yet, but I was watching him in the last preseason game against the Houston Texans, and he just misfires on this out to George Kittle, right? So it kind of talks about, a little bit about that speed out that you're talking about with Justin Fields, and Justin Fields like, hey, this is something I want to work on. If you were to say anything to Trey Lance, right? And like this is something he has to improve on. What would it be to be able to complete that pass, which most people would say, oh, it's supposed to be routine. Man, I got high school quarterbacks that can make that throw. What would you say? All right, Trey, these are things you need to work on to be able to be more consistent with throwing this 5-10 yard out.
in that situation, they just got to be really consistent at what they're doing, making sure their drops are fast. They're getting the ball out on the right time, on the right step. Mainly too in the NFL, it's all about recognition and understanding what the coverage is trying to do and where I want to go with this ball. And so you process that first, then you got to process the drop, the throw, and the placement of the ball. So that, in my case, I would tell him, make sure your drops are the same, a good pace, good tempo drop. We throwing the ball time, we hit my back foot hit on this speed out. If it's a 6-step out, we throwing it on time. If it's a 4-step out, we throwing it on the break. Those would be my coaching and points. And just work it and rep it and rep it and rep it until he feels like he got it. We'll rep it from the middle of the field, right hash, left hash, until he physically think he has it.
And that's something that, I watched JT O'Sullivan's breakdown of Trey Lance's preseason game, and that's spot on to what he was saying. He kept talking about the drop and the timing of the drop, and when the back foot hits the ground, that back foot hits the ground, like where the ball should be out, or he took this extra step, and that extra step is throwing off the entire timing, and how that can make somebody more or less inaccurate when not doing it a very specific way, as opposed to Justin Fields, who he raved about the footwork with Justin Fields and how improved it looked, and just the timing and lining up his feet to the left, or again, I don't speak that language, Greg does, but just lining his body up to complete these throws to the left. Can you talk a little bit about how kind of difficult that can be, just those throws to the left? Is there a certain way you kind of have to open up, or do you have to step a certain way to be able to kind of get aligned the correct way to throw it? I know I'm probably butchering how to explain that, but I think you get what I'm saying here.
Let me hear Greg's point of view, then I'm gonna come back behind him on this one.
We talked about it. No, absolutely. Excuse me, but I think we talked about it a little bit when everybody made this huge deal about Trey Lance missing an out to the left, like in fall camp practice, right? And I always say it to my guys, to people here on the podcast, especially those who aren't necessarily around it in the quarterback world, because obviously Ron and I see it a ton, and people see these NFL quarterbacks that have huge arm talent that can make any throw on the field at any given time. But what people don't realize, when they do miss those throws, they revert to it was just a crappy throw, right? Well, this guy has the strongest arm, but he can't make that throw. I always go back, and I'm sure that Ron does, and he's saying it right here. You got to go back and really look at their feet, right? You utilize tying your eyes to a throw. That's something we say, and it's elementary as it sounds. We use that last crossover step at the top. If you can get that crossover step at the top and get your feet aligned with your eyes and have confidence in that you made that read pre-snap and then post-snap, where you're going with the ball, especially on an out, let's say a 10-yard out, right? And they roll, or it's an off coverage. And as soon as you hit the fifth step, that ball's got to be out. Well, if you don't hit your fifth step at the right time, you're either rushing it, you're going to have to go back to another read, or if you hit that fifth step and your feet aren't aligned, maybe your hip flies open too soon, maybe you stack your feet and step over the top. So it's being able to create basically a straight line throw for yourself that makes it a little bit easier. And a lot of times, especially to the left and especially under center guys, because a lot of these dudes that come out of college are used to being in the gun, where it's more of like a punch plant. So they basically punch with a step and they get straight to their base, right? Versus getting under center and throwing a 10-yard out off a quick 5 drop with no hitch. A lot of times guys will fly open that left side. And I know that's something some of the NFL guys that I've worked with, they do that here and there from time to time. And most of them will get away with it, but they'll fly open the front shoulder and the front hip flies open. And then basically everything's exposed. So that arm has to make all the power and make the throw for you. And a lot of times that miss is going to be inside because the arm can't play catch up in time. The front hip and front shoulder are gone. Or sometimes guys will understep it and have to pull it across their body. So I think just really every throw starts with your feet, and then you build up from there. And I think that's how we teach it for the most part, unless it's like really, really younger guys and, kind of teaching the backstroke from there. But, without having your feet underneath you, it makes it pretty tough to make some of those throws, especially ones that are on time, without being able to hitch up or take a reset.
Yeah, I agree with everything he's saying. I always tell kids, get to the spot. first. That's where the drops have to be fast on certain throws, fast and speed outs, 6 step outs, 4 step outs are fast drops. You're kind of shortening your distance a little bit to get to where you need to be to make sure you get the ball out on time. And the biggest thing I see with a lot of those guys is, like Greg said, the arm strength is there, but sometimes the front shoulder is closed to the middle of the field, and we're trying to throw a speed out or a 6 step out to the left. Just open. Always tell them to open early, get it out early, because that's the timing part of it that they're trying to get to. If we can throw this ball on time, that's a route that they can't guard, really. I watched Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. Harrison and Wayne throw this all the time on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and the defense knew it was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. So it's just reps and reps and reps of it, doing it the right way over and over again. And I think that's what those little things that those type of guys want to be able to do. If they keep repping it and don't get frustrated when they just say my talent can get them the ball versus my fundamentals.
Right, and that's what I always say, man. A lot of it has to do with the work ethic too. I've been in NFL locker rooms. I was with the New York Jets, and you see the most talented guys sometimes aren't the best player because of kind of that relentless work ethic, and they kind of lack that, as opposed to maybe a guy who's a 3rd, 4th, 5th round guy who knows, like, dude, I damn near have to be an overachiever and work extremely hard and hone in on my craft. And you see those guys do extremely well. Man, Ron Veal, man, I appreciate you coming on. Real quick, I know you're a fighter as well. So how do you balance the two, man? Training athletes in the offseason, traveling to California, as well as doing your thing and saving lives and kittens as a firefighter.
The thing about our fire department, we work a 24-hour period. Then we have 2 days off. So the 2 days off are 2 full days. So that's the days I do my training on. And then I've been in the organization for almost 20 years. So I got time where I can take that time off and go on vacation. And I had some guys cover a couple of shifts for me here and there. So I was gone for like 8 weeks. So I had enough time to, cover that.
Awesome, man. That's good. Big time stuff. Well, Ryan, man, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us, myself and Greg Panelli, and hope to have you back on soon, man. This was good stuff. I know the 49er fan base and Chicago Bears fans are going to really enjoy this.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate both of you guys.
Yeah, you got it, Ron. Appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all have a great evening.
You too.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I hope y'all like that, man. Got my guy Ron Veal on here, and it was good to talk to him and just hear a different perspective on how he views things. And some of the things I think, align with Greg Panelli, as you hear. Shout out to my guy, Greg Panelli, quarterback guru. All right. But fun stuff there. Interesting stuff. And excited to see the development of all these young quarterbacks. I give them all a chance. And they all go through different things at different paces. All right. But let's talk about this 49ers against the Chicago Bears. And let me pull that up. All right. Obviously, this is a 10 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. 49ers are favored by 7. Over-under on points, 40.5. It's not a lot of points. And I predicted a score on Locked On, the Locked On crossover, Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. Make sure you tune into that. But my score prediction was 23-17. And that hits the under because they got the under at 40.5. So based on what I think, hit the under. Maybe some of you think that it's going to be more of a bigger blowout, or that's not even a blowout, but a bigger victory for the 49ers. I think now it just comes down to how are the 49ers going to win this game. If you look back to last season and what it really took to beat the Chicago Bears, there was a lot on the ground and there was a lot of Deebo Samuel. All right, let's see if I can pull up some of that performance from last year. Looking at the game log for Elijah Mitchell here, got Chicago here, boom. So the 49ers win 33-22. Interesting thing about that, and I kind of touched on it before, crazy, 49ers were 3-4. They were either 3-4 heading into this game, or, yeah, because I think maybe they played Cardinals after that and went to 3-5. But you look at this, and 49ers had 9 points at halftime. Chicago had 13. A lot of people were speculating that potentially Jimmy Garoppolo would get benched, but he had the big throw right before half to put them in scoring position. They kicked the field goal. right? So 49ers down 13-9 at half. And then in the third quarter, Chicago scores 3, 49ers score 6, and the score is 12, 34, 15. 49ers are down by a point heading into the fourth quarter. Then the 49ers turn it up, and they score 18 points in the fourth to the Chicago Bears 6, and that's not including that interception by the great Josh Norman. But the 49ers end up winning 33-22 on the road. And sometimes being on the road, weird things can happen. But 49ers are definitely going to have to be better. Be better early to where you don't have to feel like, oh, I got to throw this, I got to put the game on Trey Lance's shoulders and throw this team into a win. I don't think Kyle Shanahan wants that. And depending on the weather, because looking at the weather forecast, let me pull that up right now. If I'm not mistaken, it is going to be weather. Yeah, 70 degrees. Dang, it's starting to get a little cold. First it was 76. It was 76. Now it says 70. And rain. I don't know how to tell when. Let's see if I can pull up something that gives me a little bit more intel into exactly what's going to happen on Sunday. Here we go. All right. Got it raining. Oh, this is weird. Got it raining. It's going to rain, man. 70 degrees. It's going to rain. 81% chance to rain. What the hell am I supposed to wear in 70-degree weather, but then it's raining? So do I wear like shorts and a hoodie? Anyways, that stuff doesn't matter. All that matters is how the 49ers going to win this game. And obviously, I believe they are going to. I said 23-17. I think there's going to be a healthy dose of Elijah Mitchell once again. Last year, Elijah Mitchell in this game, 18 carries, 137 yards, a touchdown. I can see something similar to that. Deebo Samuel in that game, 6 receptions, 171 yards. That's including a big, 83-yard play on 3rd and 20. That was big time. Can he have a repeat performance? And right now, that's one of the big question marks, right? Can Deebo Samuel and Trey Lance get on the same page? That's what we want to see. And I'd say in training camp, I think the misconnection there was, I don't want to say overblown. Vertically down the field, it was not there. Underneath, I thought, at least from what I saw when I was there at practice, they were connecting just fine. There was no issues there. Now, we have seen some misses or we've heard about those, but from what I saw, underneath, cool. Vertically pushing, not there at all whatsoever, which was even more weird when you threw the ball against the Texans down the field. But maybe they said, hey, let's continue to try to work on that connection. Let's do it live as well. So hopefully they get that down. But overall, Deebo Samuel, big game. Elijah Mitchell, big game. And you're going to lean on your good football players again, right? This is a game that I don't think the 49ers have to have their young quarterback try to take over this game. What's the 49ers philosophy going to be? Probably the same thing it was with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, you look at Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers in this game, it looks crazy. 17-28, 322 yards, but 0 touchdown passes. And a lot of it had to do with Deebo. Whoa, right? On 3rd and 20, taking a screen 80-something yards, right? That's definitely going to help inflate some of your numbers. But just in the sense of, you don't have to do everything, Jimmy. Put the game on your big dogs' backs, whether it's Deebo, whether, George Kittle. I don't even know if George Kittle is going to be playing in this game. That's the goddamn Kittle. All right, but Ayuk, Deebo, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Shanahan. Make this offense go. Easy reach for the quarterback. Get him settled in. Bootlegs out on the edge. Layup completions. Get it going, then come back with those big hitters on the play actions. 49ers do that, they'll be all right. Now, McGlinchey playing, cool. Trent Williams, cool. You're going to need help because Robert Quinn is a mother effer. That is somebody that can really change the dynamics of this game off of that edge. And I don't know if y'all watched the Rams game with Von Miller and what he did, for the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills blitzed 0 times in an entire game against the Rams. But how'd they kick the Rams' butt? Dude, they were rushing for and getting back there. Can the 49ers do that? I didn't like that philosophy. Well, I'm not going to say I didn't like that philosophy last year, but it didn't work versus the Bears last year. Thought Justin Fields probably had his most efficient game. Completed 19 out of 27 passes. Only 175 yards. So it's not like they were like these explosive passing plays, 1 touchdown. But he also had 103 rushing yards. So 278 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I think you take that. I'm pretty sure that if it meant a win, the Bears, I keep wanting to say Bills, I just watched them, but the Bears, they'll take that again. I just don't think the 49ers are going to give it to them. So I got the 49ers winning this game. Again, 23-17. I think that 17 points for the Bears comes late. I could see the game being 23-10 late in the fourth quarter. Then the Bears getting a late touchdown. Almost like what we saw in the Cowboys versus 49ers playoff game. But I really like the 49ers. I'm very confident with that. I'm excited to go. I'm about to get with my guy John Chapman, get up with my girl Kim Possible. She does all the camera work. Just kick it, have a good time, interact with y'all. If you see me, I'm going to have my camera with me, doing all my little selfie stuff and vlogging and all that good stuff. Check out the Giants, San Francisco Giants against the Chicago Cubs, and just really have a good time. Really have a good time. All right, but I told you I wasn't going to hold y'all too long. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy this show. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. I love all y'all. I hope everybody's doing well. If you're looking for me, hit me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker or on Instagram at CrocTime_U. But that's going to do it for this episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'll see y'all Monday, maybe Monday evening, Tuesday morning. I'll be traveling Monday morning. I'm going to get with y'all. I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crock Talk TV podcast. Peace.